Welcome to the Mountaineer Football Tonight Coaches Show with Mountaineer head coach Greg Lloyd. Mountaineer Football Tonight is a presentation of KMHS Sports and the Kings Mountain Touchdown Club.
Welcome to Mountaineer Football Tonight. Jeff Johnson, your host. We are in show 13. Hard to believe. It's been a great season. We're going to keep it rolling for the Mountaineers. Mountaineers coming off a huge 42-0 win over Smoky Mountain in the round 2 of the playoffs. And we have a great show for you in store tonight. Before we talk about the show that's coming up this evening, we'd want to remind you here in the YouTube channel to like these videos, to share them, and definitely subscribe. I've been told that our numbers subscribing to the YouTube channel KMHS Sports is on the rise, and you continue to do that. If you've not yet subscribed, please do so tonight. We have a good show, as I mentioned. Coach Lloyd will be with us in a few minutes after the highlight video to discuss the win over Smoky Mountain this past Friday. And then we'll have the Patriot Jacks players of the game. And then we'll also have him to share about this Friday's round 3 game at home versus West Charlotte. We have a special guest as well. If you've watched some of the recent episodes, you know that we've had some of the other coaches on. We've got JV coach Dyron Bell will be with us here in Studio 1 in just a few minutes following Coach Lloyd. So we've got a good show tonight. We do want to thank our sponsors here on Mountaineer Football Tonight. And so we'll thank them with a sponsor video, followed by the highlight video from Friday night's win over Smoky Mountain, and then we'll be back with Coach Lloyd. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is sponsored by H.B. Jones Appraisals, Long Branch Land and Water, John Gamble and Carolina Goff, the Kings Mountain Family YMCA, Brittany Austin with Hewitt Realty, Harris Funeral Home,
Welcome back to Mountaineer Football Tonight. Once again, we are joined in Studio One here with head coach of the Mountaineers, Coach Lloyd. Coach, welcome to the show.
Glad to be with you, Jeff.
Coach, it's been a great season, and I'm glad that so far we're keeping it rolling with these victories, and congratulations on a big win Friday night.
Yeah, it was a total team effort. Just really pleased with our players, their preparation. I'm pleased with the coaches' work last week, but the players came out and just really played hard. I thought it was one of our best performances of the year, and just really pleased we're able to move on and continue to play.
Coach, I thought the team definitely was strong in all three phases of the game. Stingy on defense, forced 3 turnovers. The offense was balanced, running the ball well, throwing the ball well, and great special teams coming up with a huge punt block early in that game. Talk about anything else really that stood out from the team's performance Friday night.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Jeff. It was a total team effort. We had offensively, we had a nice mix of run and pass. Caleb and Teddy both were excellent, had some big yards. I thought our offensive line was very physical, and I thought they pretty much dominated the game, especially on our trap plays and G-trap blocking. They did a great job. And then all of our receivers made a play during the game. And, of course, Jaquelin had a highlight catch there over top of their corner in the third quarter. So it was really a team effort there offensively. And then defensively, gave them a couple early there. And as far as first downs, we kind of toughened up a little bit and ended up pitching a shutout. And credit to those players and Coach Wilson and his staff and the defensive staff. And then, of course, special teams were good as well. Big block punt, like you said. We made all our extra points. Jaden Ellis did a good job of kicking off, and then we had some good coverage too. So Coach Harris's boys did a great job, and, real proud of the entire team.
We certainly were glad as the game went on that the weather seemed to improve and it dried up a little bit. I know that affected the crowd being there, but on the broadcast, we definitely made a lot of comments about how well you guys continue to play in the trenches this season. Offensive line, I think our guys, and maybe it's Coach Short and definitely Drew Fulton, Craig, they commented multiple times about how well the offensive line blocked. I thought the guys did a fantastic job in the trenches.
They did. They've gotten better and better. And one player that doesn't get talked about very much is our left tackle, Tristan Spikes, and he's, this is his first year playing offensive line, and he's come a long way. We knew what we had in, kind of in the other 4 guys, but Tristan stepped in there and done a good job, and all 5 guys did an excellent job on Friday, and it really paid off.
Coach, we had another game. We had to run the clock in the fourth quarter. It's good to get some reserves in there, particularly as the season continues. In your preparation, and we've talked many times about the coaches and players, how you guys prepared for each team. But for Smoky Mountain, was there anything as you got into the game that surprised you? Anything that you had to make some adjustments to? Anything that you saw that they were doing that you had to make some adjustments on the fly?
Actually, not much. They pretty much were, what we had planned for is pretty much what they did. They defensively, they ran pretty much what we had practiced. And offensively, they may have ran the ball inside a little more than we had planned. But other than that, it was pretty much, they do what they do, and they try to do it as well as they can do it. And sometimes you get late in the year, you don't want to be too cute because you want to give your team the best chance, and you want to do what they're comfortable doing. So I think that's what they did, and I thought our guys responded well.
Well, congratulations on the big win, 42-0 over Smoky Mountain. In a few minutes, we'll look ahead and talk about the game round 3. But Coach, as you share with the players at the end of the regular season, it's now one game at a time, one opportunity. It's a single game season, and we'll continue that this Friday.
Yeah, no doubt. It's just one game seasons. Like you say, at this point, you just prepare as hard as you can. You go out on Friday night, and you play as hard as you can play. You try to play as well as you can play, and let the chips fall where they may. And you're just looking to advance, and you're not so much worried about the score. You just want to have more points than the other team so you can keep playing. So our objective is to just take them one at a time and just do our very best.
Last question before we get to the players of the game. Do you find that you're having at this point to spend a little more time reminding the players not to look ahead in the playoff bracket to potential opponents in another round? Is that something you find yourself having to do more?
I think we were maybe a little concerned with that before the playoffs started, but at practice it doesn't seem that way. It's pretty much just, they realize if we come out and we don't play well and we happen to get beat or something, then it's over. And so you just got to really put your focus on that one team you're playing and all your efforts into trying to win that game. And I think our players understand that, and I expect them to continue with that approach. And I know today at practice they had that approach. So feeling good about that. That's
good. Well, it is Monday of practice week, and we'll talk in a few minutes more about the game Friday night. Coach, as we wrap up with the game against Smoky Mountain, share with us your players of the game. Patriot Jacks has, of course, been all season. Mountaineer Football Tonight been our lead sponsor for players of the game. Who do you have for offense, defense, and special teams? I'll let you just take off all three.
All right, so start with special teams. We're going to go with our punt returner, Zorion Lanier. He's a sophomore. I think his second time he's was our Patriot Jacks special teams player of the game. He had several nice punt returns. He's done a great job back catching punts, and he's had several touchdowns already this year, but he changed field position the other day for us a couple of times, and that's why he's our special teams player of the game. On defense, also a returner winner, it would be A.J. Richardson. He had a big game up front, several sacks, many tackles for loss. He also had a block punt, so that was a big play for us early in the game, but he is the defensive player of the game. And on offense, we're going to give it to Caleb Holland. Caleb had an excellent game. He had a good game rushing, 70-some-odd yards rushing. He also caught 2 touchdown passes, 3 touchdowns overall. So Caleb Holland is our Patriot Jacks offensive player of the game.
Well, congratulations to each of these young men, Patriot Jacks players of the game, for round 2 victory over Smoky Mountain. Well, Coach, when we come back in just a few minutes, we'll have a few questions for you, and then we'll turn our attention to this Friday against West Charlotte. We'll take a sponsor break and be right back.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is sponsored by H.B. Jones Appraisals, Long Branch Land and Water, John Gamble and Carolina Goff, the Kings Mountain Family YMCA, Brittany Austin with Hewitt Realty, Harris Funeral Home.
Well, welcome back to Mountaineer Football Tonight. Jeff Johnson with head coach Greg Lloyd of the Mountaineers. Coach Lloyd, I know that coaches have to keep a sort of reputation. I understand that. Tell me a little bit about the hat pull down, if you don't mind. Now, listen, I want you to know I had a favorite hat growing up, and it was definitely, I would wear it nice and low. And I left that hat in the airport, and I almost cried. It was broken in over years. So the question is, the youth today love the flat brim hats, and I'm not a big fan. That's pure craziness for me.
Right.
And I know that's okay. And Coach Bell's in the studio.
Coach Bell
he likes
flat
it.
deal.
It's stylish. I get it. But tell me about that. Do you usually have it that low in games?
I do. I like to wear my hat a little low. Like I said, Beth.
Doesn't block your view, does it?
Miss Beth doesn't like it. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I just like it lower. I don't know.
Well,
Keep the shade. Keeps my eyes shaded.
Okay, it's not an intimidation factor, is it?
No.
Okay. Well, when we film our show, I know you keep it pretty low, so that's good. All right, well, one more question for you. It's about your running backs.
Yes.
Now, I know we featured both Caleb and Teddy have had great seasons.
No doubt.
Should we start a campaign with Mountaineer fans? Is there a nickname for the duo that we need to know about?
There's not.
Okay, because I've got a few suggestions, but
Okay.
I don't know. Thunder and Lightning, Rock and Roll, Shake and Bake. It could be Hammer and Nail, Sugar and Spice, Table for Two. Get served. I don't know. Just some ideas.
I just like Caleb and Teddy.
Okay.
Just
all right.
Caleb
we'll keep it like that.
Or Teddy and Caleb.
All right. We'll do that.
Good.
Well, maybe Mountaineer fans will come up with a nickname, but we want to know that they're doing a great job.
And they have done a great job. And before Robert Kendrick got banged up, he was right in there with them.
Absolutely.
And Michael Ward is an excellent back. So, I mean, we have a stable of running backs, and they're all talented. But, yeah, Caleb and Teddy, just the last few weeks, have just really turned their play up.
Well, and I know Coach Bell will share in a little bit. You've got some good running backs on the JV squad as well.
No doubt.
We could almost call Kings Mountain running back U. I mean, we've had some phenomenal players the last number of years. Well, Coach, let's talk about West Charlotte. Round 3 of the playoffs. West Charlotte is a team that we played last year. We went to West Charlotte last year and beat them. They are 7-5. They come from a conference that is split 3A and 4A, so they play some teams that are bigger opponents, so to speak, in the classification. They're coming off a 56-7 win over High Brighton this past week in round 2. Share with us, for the Mountaineer fans, your outlook, what you expect as you guys are preparing this week for West Charlotte.
West Charlotte has an excellent football team. They play in the toughest 4A conference in the state. That the 5 teams that they've lost to, most teams would get beat by. I mean, you're talking about Huff, Butler, Independence, Chambers. I mean, these are elite teams with elite athletes, and that's who they go up against. So they see the best of the best, and they've been competitive in all their games. So they will probably be the most athletic team we've seen. They're very fast. They've got some excellent size. They're well coached. And like I said, we're fortunate enough to beat them last year in the postseason, which I'm sure that doesn't sit too well with them. So I'm sure they're coming down here with a chip on their shoulder, ready to play. Things that stick out to me on film, like I said, just their sheer speed. But number one is the running back. He is a special talent. He gets his hands on the ball. He can score from anywhere on the field. So, I mean, they're very dangerous. They're known for their defense this year. They base out of a 3-4. They're attacking. They're up the field a lot like we are. They're very good tacklers. They've created lots of turnovers. And like I said, they're going to be one of the better teams we played, if not the best team we've seen to this point. So, I mean, this is going to be a tough deal.
Coach, I know a number of the teams that you mentioned are still live in the playoffs in 4A. So, as you mentioned, Mountaineers have a tough task this week. Coach, I know in a moment you're gonna really talk to Mountaineer fans and encourage them to be here in the stadium cheering on the guys. But the weather forecast definitely looks like it's clear and it's going to be cool. Do you like it? Does that mean it's like playoff weather? Do you like it's football weather?
I do. And, when you're playing middle of November going toward Thanksgiving, you're going to have some cold Friday nights. So that just means you've had a good year. The players have done a great job. We're still playing. And, you expect it to be cold. So the elements will be there. But I know last week was a kind of a rainy, cold, or a rainy Friday night. And the crowd was down a little bit. But I just really hope we have a big crowd this Friday night. Get out here and support these players. They've worked really hard, and I know it's nice sometimes to sit at home in that cozy environment and watch on your couch, but we need people here cheering for us so the kids can hear and get behind the team, because it's going to be a tough ball game, and those fans really make a difference. And when they're loud, they make an impact on the players. And they help them, and I think it helps us to play better, and it gets their juices flowing, and it's just a big deal. And our fans are great; they're always great, and I think they're second to none.
Well, you heard it from Coach Lloyd. You need to be here at John Campbell Stadium. We've got home field advantage, and we need to rise to the occasion, fans. We need to fill the stands here, fill the hill. We need to really do a great job cheering on. This past week, as Coach Lloyd mentioned, it was a little rainy. But no excuses. From here on out, we've got to fill the stands and be here. Well, Coach, we put the information from that Matt Bridges was able to share today. You can go ahead and get your tickets ahead of time. I believe on Ticket Spigot, and I want to say that.
Spigot, right?
Spigot. There we go. I knew I was going to mess that up. Ticket Spigot, but that link is on the Facebook YouTube page the Facebook page for KM Football. That link is live, and you can go ahead and get your tickets for Friday night, or you can get them here at the gate. They're $8. 7:30 this Friday night. You're going to want to be here at John Gamble Stadium, and you need to be here early and be here and get loud. Coach, anything else you want to share about Friday night? We ready to go?
Yeah, our guys will be ready to go. They're excited to have another game here at John Gamble, and looking forward to a great environment.
Well, we are going to have Coach Bell with us in just a minute. I'm going to give you the opportunity before we go to the sponsor break to say a few things about Coach Bell before he comes on the show. Well,
Coach Bell's done a phenomenal job since he's been with us over the last 4 or 5 years. He's taken over our JV program. I think we've got a phenomenal record since he's become head coach. I think 21-2, won a conference championship. He's got a lot of players out for the team, and I'm gonna tell you what else he does. He's pretty much he is year round, and Saturdays during the off season he has a big group that comes over and he works them out, gets them faster, gets them motivated, and he's made an amazing difference in our program, and I just couldn't be more proud of the person he is and the work ethic he has, and just what he does for Kings Mountain football. So, Coach Bell, he's the best.
Well, I think you know him best. Maybe you need to lead the next segment. I don't know.
Well, I won't, because everybody'd rather see.
Oh, no doubt. Well, listen, we'll be right back. Coach, you said it best, set it up well for our interview in just a few moments with Coach Dyron Bell, who will be here when we get back after the sponsor break. See you in a moment.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is sponsored by H.B. Jones Appraisals, Long Branch Land and Water, John Gamble and Carolina Goff, the Kings Mountain Family YMCA, Brittany Austin with Hewitt Realty, Harris Funeral Home.
Well, welcome back to Mountaineer Football Tonight. Jeff Johnson with Coach Dyron Bell, the JV coach, and also works with the running backs of varsity, among other things, elite coach, so many things you do. Now, Coach Bell, I'm going to say this before this is off script. Do not let any of the other coaches give you a hard time about being on the show.
I got you.
What I've heard is that some of the other coaches have been ragged a little bit about their time on here, so there's no pressure.
I got you.
You're good. And I'll say this, you're much younger than me, and you can definitely look better in a flat bill hat than I can. So
I like the flat.
that's right. You're more stylish than I am. I'm old school, and definitely like the hat like Coach Lloyd, have it nice and low. Well, Coach, if you would take a few minutes to share with us, the other coaches have had the opportunity. We know that, no coach coaches in a vacuum. You don't do it all by yourself.
Right.
So take a few minutes to talk about and share with us some of the other coaches that help you with the JV squad.
I got you. Well, I love the way we do things here because all our coaches coach everybody. So the varsity guys help with the JV guys at every position. The way our practice is set up, everybody get to work with everybody. But the guys who with me on the JV squad most of the time, I got Coach Clark. He helps me with the offensive side of the ball. He coaches our O-line. I got Coach Fortner, who helps with our quarterbacks on both teams. And then on the defensive side, we have Coach Cole, who helps with our D-line. Coach Williams, who's our defensive coordinator, works with our linebackers. And then we have Coach Cloninger, who helps with our DBs. And then Coach Harris, he, just like with our varsity special teams, he handles our JV special team, does a great job, and gets our guys going. So when I say it's a team effort, it's definitely a team effort. Everybody helps coach all our guys.
Well, I'll definitely say this. Being on the sideline throughout the season, the past couple of years, you definitely can tell the camaraderie that goes on among the coaches. And I know you and your team do a great job with JV. Now, we've talked last year, but for those Mountaineer football fans who maybe didn't tune in last year, talk about, I guess, the role and the importance that you have and the coaching job with JV and how that really plays into the development of the players as they work their way up to the varsity squad?
Well, you hit it on the head right there when you said development. JV is all about development. We are trying to get as many guys ready for Friday nights as possible. Some of them get brought up during the season. Then at the end of the JV season, we bring a lot of guys up for the playoffs. And then in the future, a lot of those guys you're going to see on Friday nights next year possibly, or a couple of years from down the road. So the more development we give them now, the better off they're going to be in the future. So it's all about Friday night. It's all about Friday night, getting developed, ready to step up, help us on Friday nights.
Well, I know you do a great job, and I know especially with the player development, you guys have got to be in constant communication between you and Coach Lloyd and the other coaches.
Yes.
How does that work? Coach Lloyd mentioned the off-season preparation that you're working with the team and many JV and varsity players. What's the communication like preseason, in the off-season, but also throughout the season? What's that communication look like?
Well, we always, even though we're in season, getting ready for upcoming season, we always talking about the future, thinking about the future. We're always evaluating guys. It never stops. Evaluation never stops because off-season development is just as more, to me, it's more important than in-season development because everything happens in the off-season. You get ready in the off-season, so we're always communicating as far as who's showing up for workouts, who's developing, what we see, what we don't like about guys. It's always constant communication about our guys' development. You know, we're always projecting for next season, thinking about next season. So it's continuous discussions about our guys because, to me, it never stops. It's always preparing for this season and then thinking about next season and just making sure we're all on the same page about certain guys, certain abilities, how they're progressing, how they're developing. So the communication is nonstop all the time. So, and we do a good job. Coach Lloyd he got his finger on everything. So it just works out great for our whole program, and which is what we're trying to establish, one of those continuous winning programs that you're always going to have to talk about Kings Mountain football every year. And it starts with these younger guys being developed, ready for the future.
Well, you definitely mentioned the winning program, and no doubt you can see that whatever formula you guys have got going on, it's definitely showing just the success over the last number of years. It's, I believe, what you're doing is really making a difference. So kudos to you and the other coaches that work, and I think your role is so important for these young men on and off the field as they develop into continue to excel on the field and off.
Thank you.
Coach, what was this season? You had an 8-1 season, a very successful season. Obviously, I know it probably didn't finish the way you wanted, but what were some of the highlights for you this season when you coached this team? You had a lot of success on the field this year. What were some of the highlights for you?
Well, my goal, and which is every year, is to be a better team at that last game of the season compared to that first game. And luckily, the way our schedule sets up, we play Shelby first, and then we end the season with Crest. Even though we lost to Crest, we were a better team at the end of the year. So that means our kids developed and got better, which is, at the end of the day, what we want to do is make guys develop and become better football players by the end of the year. And I can honestly say we did that. We ended up being a better team by the end of the year, and that's our goal every year.
Well, I know it's got to make you feel good being on the field on Friday nights and seeing some of the players that you've coached in JV as well having success. Who are some of the players that I guess you get excited about on the varsity level, and perhaps anyone that we should be looking forward in the future?
Yes. Offensively, we had some really good production out of our quarterback, TJ Armstrong. He's going to be a special talent for us here. Our running back, another freshman, Josiah Hill. He's going to he showed some great promise at running back and on the defensive side, but he's going to be a really tough guy to deal with as a running back. Up front, we had some pretty good linemen. Jack Kaiser is a 2-year player for me. He made some great strides this year. He's going to help us out in the future big time. And then on the defensive side, we have some more freshmen. William Vaughn, he stood out really, really big this year, played big for us. But it was a lot. I don't want to forget anybody, but it was a lot of guys who contributed and helped us to become had a successful year. But those are just a few names that just stuck out to me. But you're gonna see a lot of those guys in the future making Kings Mountain football great again.
Well, it's exciting, and certainly know that Mountaineer football is in good hands.
Yep.
Definitely in the player development. And I know you also work with Elite, and some of the work you're doing there is definitely going to pay dividends.
Yes.
Definitely years down the road.
Yes, sir.
Well, personal question: you have need of a long snapper next season?
Yes.
Because I happen. I don't know if you know, but I happen to have a son who lives with me at my house who is excited about coming to high school next year, and he is all about some long snapping.
Tell him to bring it, but just like I tell everybody, you got to earn it. We don't give anybody anything. You got to win that spot, and if you win it, it's yours. We love competition. We love competition.
I should expect you to tell him that. Now listen, I'm doing my best to get him stronger and bigger. We're trying to feed him, but I think we're fighting against his DNA a little bit.
Keep working.
But he's excited about hopefully being the long snapper for you.
I look forward to having it.
If not next season, the season to come. So I'll give my son Joseph a little shout out. He played for Coach Bridges in the middle school this season. Well, the future is definitely bright, certainly bright here for Mountaineer football. Coach Bell, your role, as we said, is so important. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for the player development. And really, Coach Lloyd said it best with the accolades. And I know that your character and the work that you put in is paying dividends now. We're seeing the benefits of the last couple of years, but I know that for years to come, your work is going to certainly help the Mountaineer program. So thank you for being with us, and thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right, well, we're going to take a break. We're so grateful for Coach Lloyd being with us and Coach Bell being with us. And certainly look forward to, when you see him on the sideline Friday night, you need to shout his name and give him a thumbs up and tell him thank you for the work that he does. We're going to take a sponsor break, and we'll be right back here on Mountaineer Football Tonight.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is sponsored by H.B. Jones Appraisals, Long Branch Land and Water, John Gamble and Carolina Goff, the Kings Mountain Family YMCA, Brittany Austin with Hewitt Realty, Harris Funeral Home.
All right, Mountaineer football fans, you need to like this coach's show. You need to share it on social media. You need to subscribe to our KMHS Sports channel. And we want to continue to get our subscribers up. I do want to take the time to remind you, you need to become a member of the KM Touchdown Club. You can find that information online, but you need to support the program. I know David and Marie Brinkley do a great job. So generous in our community, as well as all the things that go on, not just sports here at Kings Mountain High School, and you do become a member. We're going to talk in just a few moments about the other activities and sports going on here at KM this week. But I do want to remind you, Friday night, that's going to be the one that definitely stands out this Friday night. Be here. Now, I'll say this about it. We will have the broadcast. Drew Fulton, Lamont Littlejohn, Craig Short, and myself will be doing the broadcast here. But here's what I encourage you to do. Use the broadcast to go back and watch the game. If you're able to be here in the stadium, if you're able to be here Friday night, you're local and you're physically able to be here, bring some blankets, some hand warmers, be out here in the stands. We need you. This last week was, we'll give you a pass. It was not a great showing. For those of you that made it out, thank you so much for being here. But the stands were eerily quiet, and we need you here Friday night. Get your tickets, be here Friday night. I will say this, for those of you that cannot be here, not able to be here, maybe traveling, you're out of town, do not pay anybody. There's spam and things that show up on Facebook. Do not pay money to watch the broadcast or watch the game, whatever they may show you. We will have it free for you on this channel, KMHS Sports, on YouTube. The pregame will begin at 6:30, and the game kickoff will be at 7:30. So we look forward to being online. But for those of you that are going to be here in the stands, go back and watch the game because you'll see a different perspective for those online. All right, let's talk about KM this week. You'll see on the screen that we've got some other things going on. Tuesday, tomorrow, will be, I get St. Stephen's, got to meet there. Thursday, we got men's and women's. Drew, you're going to have to help me out. I can't even read that. I'm going to need to get some readers. What's sport on Thursday? 6 o'clock on the mountain. What is that? Is that wrestling? No, we don't have men's and women's. I'm just dropping the ball here on live saying, no, you're just going to have to read it on the screen for yourself. Forgive me. Swimming. My buddy Dan is going to be upset with me. He coaches a swimming team, and they have a meet this week. I guess that's what that is as well at St. Stephen's today. But men's, women's swimming is this Thursday at 6 p.m. Forgive me, Coach Messenger and other coaches. Men's basketball will play a scrimmage against East Lincoln, 6 p.m. at East Lincoln. Friday night, of course, we've been talking about the whole episode. Tonight, football versus West Charlotte, 7:30 here at home. And I think, that's what it is. Wrestling will be tomorrow, and then wrestling will be Saturday as well, a tournament at Huff. Wow, I completely butchered that. I guess I should look at that information sheet before we throw it up on the screen here on the show. Forgive me. It's been a long day. Mountaineer Football Tonight, it's been a great episode. So thankful for Coach Lloyd being with us, Coach Dyron Bell being with us. And thank you, Mountaineer fans, for tuning in to yet another episode of Mountaineer Football Tonight. Thank you to the sponsors. And we'll see you this Friday night here at Kings Mountain.
Mountaineer Football Tonight is sponsored by H.B. Jones Appraisals, Long Branch Land and Water, John Gamble and Carolina Goff, the Kings Mountain Family YMCA, Brittany Austin with Hewitt Realty, Harris Funeral Home,